So today I'm going to show you another of France's classical sauces, they're referred to as mother sauces, and today's turn is bechamel sauce. On the counter we have our ingredients, so let's go through them. We've got 750 millilitres of whole milk. It needs to be whole milk rather than semi-skimmed. We've got 75 grams of plain flour. We've got 75 grams of unsalted butter. We've got half a medium-sized onion. This weighs about 50 grams. We've got one large bay leaf, and we're going to use 2 whole cloves. So I've put my milk onto heat, and now we want to add our onion. This is what we call a studied onion. So we want to make a little cut at about 45 degrees into the onion, and then we want to wedge the bay leaf into the onion, and then we're just going to stick the cloves also into the onion, and then we're going to put the whole studied onion into our milk. So our milk is heating up with our studied onion inside, and also in a separate pan on the stove we have our 75 grams of butter heating up, and as soon as that is fully melted, then we'll start mixing in our flour. We want to make sure that the milk, once it comes to a simmer, is turned down so it doesn't boil over, but we want to make sure that the milk is hot when we put it into our roux. So you can see now that the butter has completely melted, so now we can start stirring in our flour. Whenever you're making a roux based sauce, always remember it's equal amounts of fat to flour. So in this case we have 75 grams of plain flour, so we've got 75 grams of butter. We want to make sure that we're stirring the bottom of the saucepan so it's not burning, but we want this to cook out for a few minutes before we start adding our milk. Milk has now come to a simmer, so we're going to start adding the milk to our roux. We want to just take a small amount in the first instance and give that a good stir, making sure again that the spoon is touching the bottom of the saucepan. And you see how quickly the milk was absorbed into the roux. And it's this process of adding the milk gradually, adding the liquid gradually to your roux, will give you a nice smooth sauce with no lumps. And you want to wait till the milk has been completely absorbed into the roux before we add more liquid. So we've just added another half a ladle of hot milk into our roux, and you can see it's no lumps in our sauce. It's really important to keep stirring the bottom of the saucepan to make sure that the sauce is not burning. So we're adding another ladleful of milk. And see how smooth that is. So you can see now I've added all of the milk and it's lovely and smooth, no lumps. And at this point we can, if we want, add our studied onion with bay leaf and the cloves into our bechamel to give it a little bit more flavour. And we want to cook this out now and continue to stir from time to time for about 10 minutes, just to make sure that the roux is totally cooked. At that point we are going to season it with salt and pepper and then strain it so the sauce has the onion and the bay leaves and the cloves removed. So I'd like to show you a useful trick of how to keep the sauce from skinning once you have it finished. So we've got a piece of baking paper, parchment paper, and I folded it in half, a square in half, and then we're going to fold it again from corner to corner, and then we're going to fold it again, and we're going to fold it one more time, and then we're going to get a pair of scissors and we're just going to cut it, and this will give us a paper circle. And then we're just going to put some melted butter on this, and the idea is that the paper circle sitting on top of the sauce will stop the skin forming and keep your sauce ready to use. Just like that. Bechamel sauce has been cooking now for about 10 minutes, so it's cooked, and we want to season it, and then we're going to strain it. So first we're going to go with some sea salt, and give that sea salt a good stir in to the sauce. Then we're going to go with pepper. Now I don't have any white pepper. If I did have white pepper I would use white pepper, but since I don't, black pepper will be fine, because you won't see the black pepper once we put it through the strainer. And of course we want to taste it before we strain it to make sure that the sauce is nicely seasoned. It needs a little more salt. And give it a good stir, and we will taste it again. So we've got another spoon. Yeah, that's really good now. So we are now ready to strain our sauce to get our onion and bay leaf and cloves out. So I've got a clean saucepan with a fine mesh strainer, and we're just going to put the sauce through the strainer a little at a time, and we want to push that through. Make sure that we don't lose any of the sauce. So I've almost finished pushing the sauce through the strainer. You can see that my saucepan is nice and clean. There's no burnt bits, which is what you want, obviously, because we kept stirring the sauce during the cooking process. And we're almost finished pushing the sauce through the strainer. We want to make sure we don't lose any of the sauce. So you need a good sturdy strainer to do this with. And you also, when you think you're almost done, you want to think about the sauce that's adhering to the bottom of the strainer, like that. There we go. That's all done. And now we're ready to put the paper lid on our bechamel. Here we have our finished bechamel sauce, one of the French mother sauces, and from this bechamel sauce we can make other sauces like Mornay sauce, and we do that with the addition of grated Parmesan cheese, and then we can use it on top of all kinds of dishes. You see how lovely and smooth that is, and rich and delicious bechamel sauce.